My dear friends, so if you were on the search committee to choose Moses' successor, who would you have chosen to lead the Jewish people? Well, in this week's Torah portion, after Moses is informed of his impending death, he asks God to appoint a new leader. Concerned about the qualifications of his successor, Moses pleads, and I'm quoting the Torah, "Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a new person over the congregation." Notice the plural term spirits versus spirit signifies, according to the rabbis, the wide range and breadth of human tempers and dispositions a leader must listen to. Just the emails alone. So Moses was begging for a leader who could deal with each person on an individual basis with patience and understanding. A likely candidate, a finalist for Moses' successor, is the name of this week's Torah portion, Pinchas, known as Phineas in English. Pinchas was Aaron's grandson, Moses' great-nephew, son of the incumbent high priest, Eleazar. What a resume. He received a special reward for his zeal in slaying an Israelite man and Midianite woman. I'm trying to keep this PG. They were violating Israel's sexual code of behavior. And for this zealous act of what Pinchas did, literally torpedoing them with a spear, the priesthood became the position of Phineas and his descendants for all time. So, why did the leadership baton not go to him? The rabbis had real reservations about this guy's temperament. He reacted violently by literally spearing an Israelite man and Midianite woman without giving them recourse to due process. He shocked the people. He took the law into his own hands. Sure, he restored order, but he did so in a way that was incredibly violent. He had passion. He was a zealot. But zealotry is more than passion. What is zealotry? Zealotry is when passion is wedded to fear. That is what makes a zealot. The combination of passion and fear. And passion turns dangerous when it is wedded to fear. Only when passion is wedded to love can a healthy society and culture unfold. The danger of our time, as in the time of Pinchas, is zealotry, extremism, fanaticism, all preying on everyone's worst fears. We see it politically. We see it religiously with fringe extremists in all faiths. We see it in every group. Extremists in any group threaten the well-being of everyone. And extremism happens when passion is wedded to fear. Now, Pinchas will make up for this zealousness by promoting peace among the Jewish tribes later in life. However, if you're following the story, Joshua is appointed instead. And guess what Moses is charged to Joshua? And Joshua's recurring two words are over and over again. Al tira. Don't be afraid. We live in a culture of fear. A culture in which people stop relating to each other freely for fear of danger. People cannot think clearly when they are afraid. Fear distorts emotions and leads to poor decisions. For people who have suffered trauma, I've learned from psychologist friends, fear can trigger uncontrollable fight or flight responses with dangerous ramifications. Culture of Fear is the name of a book by Barry Glassner, and it underscores the fact that we often fear the wrong things and incredibly out of proportion to reality. For instance, statistics show you have a much higher chance of being killed by lightning than by a terrorist. Television and film are filled with millions of fictional deaths, extreme violence, far out of proportion to what happens in real life, as researchers have pointed out. At any given moment in the United States, there are a multitude of things we might be afraid of. The carton in your refrigerator, disease, terrorist attacks, gun violence, fear of immigrants at the border, people of color. Consciousness of fear about these topics, however, has no relationship with actual threat levels. Fear dominates politics, media, and human existence in America, and it only breeds more mental illness and trauma, social disintegration, and widespread anxiety. That's why this is my favorite hour of the week whenever we pray at temple. There's no fear here. Fear also leads to the scapegoating of others for the problems one faces. Moses and his chosen successor Joshua appreciated the many different spirits of the people without injecting additional fear into the camp. Those two words, Joshua would later repeat, al tira, mean again, do not be afraid, do not live in fear. So in the spirit of this message tonight, I want to close with a powerful, brief story. Since they're building a rock climbing wall by Christian brothers, when you go by Baptist, I lived in the Madison apartments. I had no idea what they were building. Powerful, brief story about rock climbing from my college friend and classmate who also became a rabbi, Naomi Levy. One day, Naomi writes, my daughter Noah, who has a physical disability, asked me if she could have a rock climbing party for her 12th birthday. I froze. This is what my friend Naomi writes. I'd always been so careful to protect my daughter from disappointment. I'd gone to great lengths to create parties where she wouldn't get left out or feel that her friends surpassed her. I said, no, honey, I don't think it's a good idea. But why? She pressed me. It's too expensive, I said. But day after day, Noah kept pushing for the rock climbing party. And eventually, I gave in. But I was still worried. On the day of the party, Noah put on a climber's harness, and to my amazement, she pushed with her legs and pulled with her arms and boldly made her way up the wall. It wasn't easy, but she climbed and climbed. She was fearless, beaming with joy. I was so wrong about her. During the party, there was a boy about Noah's age who was too frightened to climb. His father was pushing him, encouraging him, but the boy stood frozen in his place. His muscles were strong, but his fear was stronger still. That day, my daughter taught me an invaluable lesson. Our greatest disability is fear. Our greatest strength is courage. And in climbing, it's the smoothest surface that is the most treacherous. A rough, rocky landscape is the best stepping stone for ascension. If you want to rise up, don't fear the bumps. Turn every stone into a step. Naomi closes her story as, I looked around the gym, she said. As I looked around the gym that day, I couldn't help but wonder if the key to a meaningful life was embedded in that rock wall. And those stones beckoning me gave me my answer. The challenge in life is as simple as this. Do I stare at the wall or do I climb? Al tira, we learn this week in the Torah. Climb, live. Do not be afraid. Do not live in fear. Combine passion, not with fear. Combine passion with love, and you will soar, whoever you are. you will soar if you go deep inside yourself and really listen.